If you're about to start a new diet, there are 12 things you want to do before you start. Not during, this is before you start. These set you up for success, so that way weight loss is inevitable. Most people skip these and then they're like, why am I not losing weight? Or worse, they blame themselves for not having self-control. So do what I do and do what other successful people do when they're trying to lose weight. First, successful people know exactly what they're trying to achieve. I have a lot of friends, I know a lot of people who are like, I'm on a new diet. Well, how much weight do you want to lose? I don't know, we'll just see what happens. What kind of calorie restrictions are you doing? I'm just doing keto. Or I'm doing low fat. I don't know about you, but me, I would not want to be on a diet forever. When I think of the word diet, I think of here is a set time frame that I want to achieve this weight loss goal. And then everything else, like the keto and intermittent fasting, I think of those as like life hacks to not maybe have your weight creep up on you, but those are just hacks rather than actual like strategic goals. And there's even research from this. You can look at the Dominican University of California research study. They took 267 people from various backgrounds. They divided them into groups based on goal setting specificity. It's a fancy word, specificity. Then they compared the outcomes over 4 weeks. People who wrote down their goals achieved them 42% more likely to achieve them than the people who thought about their goals. So instead of saying, I want to lose weight, I want to lose 15 pounds. And then you stack it on to number 2, which is put a specific date on that goal. So if we're talking to Sarah here and she's like, I want to lose weight. Okay, how much weight do you want to lose? I don't know. How soon do you want to lose it? I don't know. Where you have this Sarah who's like, I want to lose 15 pounds in 12 weeks. Who's more likely to achieve their goal? If you thought this Sarah, you are correct. Now, besides my stick figure representation, there are studies that prove this. This was from the University of Pennsylvania, and they found the completion rate of goals increases by 3 to 5 times when there's a specific date, rather than leaving it open-ended. And number 3, successful people do not spend weeks researching the perfect plan. They pick just something simple and start. The simplest plan really only includes 4 things. It needs to be a high-protein diet, you must be in a calorie deficit, have a daily steps goal, and do strength training a few times a week. That's it. Simple beats perfect every time. If you don't have a simple plan, you can get one for free in the description below. It moves us to our 4th thing, which is accountability. And the easiest way to do this is to take before photos. You're also going to want to hop on the scale and weigh yourself. And then as a bonus, you're going to want to do some measurements. And the reason you want to do this is the scale doesn't show you the full picture. Literally, your photo will actually show to you some different body composition. If you're not used to strength training, you could be gaining some muscle while losing fat, so the scale stays the same, but your body composition is improving. Now with the before documented, the next thing successful people do is number 5, they tell somebody about their goal and they ask for their support. This is key. They do not diet in secret. And it could be something as little as, hey, I'm starting a 12-week weight loss program. Here's my goal. Here's what I'm doing. I need your support. Now ask that to anybody in your life that cares about you. And definitely ask everybody who lives with you. There's some science as to why you need to do this that I want to share with you. But before that, if you don't tell everybody that's living in the house that you're on a special diet, they could not secretly, they could accidentally sabotage everything you're working for. I remember a year ago whenever I was trying to do a cut and lose some weight, and I didn't tell my wife, like I had the goal, but I just didn't tell her. And then she would be like, can you make this for dinner? And I'm like trying to track everything and it is just a nightmare. I'm like, I have some goals here. And then she happened to get on board and do the same thing. And it just made life a whole lot easier when she started weighing out her food too. And that research mentioned before from the Dominican University of California, in that same cohort of people, remember for those who had stated goals, achieved them 43% higher. Well, if you have some support person where you're just giving weekly updates, that group achieves 76% of their stated goals. This is why telling someone and having a support group where you can do weekly check-ins or even daily check-ins, whatever it might be, this will help you achieve your weight loss goals. So find a friend or a loved one that'll help you. Or if you want to work with me with that accountability, you can check that out in the show notes below. But number 6 is clear your house of trigger foods. Remember, willpower is finite. There's only a limited amount of willpower before you crack at night if you know the ice cream is right there. Or for me, it's any sugary sweet, but you can do whatever you want to your environment. Now, what I do sometimes, I'm just like, if I'm going it alone, I tell my wife, hey, can you please put the snacks somewhere I can't find them? Or at the very least, take all the snacky foods that you tend to snack on and put them in the garage or in the garage fridge, just somewhere it's out of reach. You just don't want a bowl of candy sitting out there on the counter. Number 7, and this is hard, I know, know, they track their food. The only way you lose weight is if you're in a calorie deficit. That means you're burning more calories than you consume, leaving a deficit. The reason tracking before you diet is so helpful is it gets you used to tracking. You don't want to just jump into everything and then you got 7 things you have to do all at once immediately. It just kind of eases you into it. And one interesting tidbit about this, there was some research out of Duke University. They told them, hey, just track your food. You don't need to do a special exercise plan. You don't need to do a special diet. We just want to track your food. And when these people tracked their food on the MyFitnessPal, I don't know what tracking thing they used, but either way, when they tracked it for 3 months, they lost 5 pounds. Literally not doing anything else. Now, what I want you to do is go ahead and download the Lose It app. It's much better than MyFitnessPal. They even have an option where you can take pictures of it and then AI kind of figures it out. But I highly recommend getting a scale here where you weigh it out and then you know exactly how much you're eating. Remember, you're only going to be on this for a certain length of time. You're not going to do this forever. You're trying to actually lose weight because you have a specific goal, whether it be 20 pounds, and you have a specific date, and this is the fastest way to get there. Plus, with the Lose It app, you can put in your goal weight and when you want to achieve it, and it'll actually map it out for you. While tracking sucks, it just guarantees that you will lose weight if you follow it. And this leads us to number 8, and that is simplify your meals. You don't want to get fancy whenever it comes to cooking, whenever you're on a diet. Number 1, if you get fancy, it tends to be flavorful, and the more flavorful it is, the more you're going to eat. The next reason you don't want to try new diets is it makes it a pain in the butt whenever you're trying to track it on your phone. Because with the Lose It app, you can at least click, oh, this is what I had yesterday for breakfast, and it'll automatically transport it to the next day. You just click a button and boom, it's right there. It just makes tracking that much easier. And once again, this is only for a short period of time. Number 9 is get a baseline amount of steps that you do every single day. So you're just going to get your watch or your iPhone, however you're going to track it. Track your steps daily before you start the diet. And then whenever you're on the diet, you can increase it to actually burn more calories. And this gets around having to decrease your food. Because I don't know about you, I would much rather increase my steps by 2,000 than decrease my food. And there's a couple other reasons why this is important. You might hear take 10,000 steps a day. That's the perfect amount. Well, if you're somebody who's only walking 2,000 a day and you just don't know it, 10,000 is going to be a pretty big chore. This way you can gradually increase into that amount. Plus, when you're using the Lose It app, it'll add back those calories, which is nice because then it's kind of like a little reward. And the reason steps is so critical for fat loss is a majority of your calories that are burnt throughout the day is just your everyday movement. It's not the formal exercise you do. This is why you don't even need to do cardio in order to lose weight. You can just increase your steps. Now, for overall health and longevity, cardio is important, but for losing weight, you don't have to do it, but you do need to be moving. Number 10, you need to have a reset plan. I'm telling you right now, you are going to screw up. There is going to be a mess up somewhere, and this is what separates successful people who have dieted from the unsuccessful. You're gonna miss a workout. You're gonna not complete the steps you wanted to complete the day. You're gonna have an extra piece of cake that you didn't anticipate. So you need to come up with a plan. If I miss a workout, I'm not gonna try to make it up the next day. I'm just gonna do whatever the next day's plan is. Same with if you miss tracking for lunch. That doesn't mean throughout the whole day, go ahead and hop right back into dinner and then just make a guess for lunch. And I think it's important to know slip-ups will happen. You're human, everybody does it. You just need to hop back on the train. That leads us to number 11. You just need to commit to showing up imperfectly. Because the person who shows up perfectly for 3 weeks on a 12-week weight loss journey is gonna do much worse than someone who showed up 80, 90% of the time every day for 12 weeks. Now, don't quote me on the math there, I just kind of made that up. But you get what I'm saying. You don't need to show up perfectly every day. While ideal, that's the goal, that's your plan. Slip-ups are gonna happen, just commit to showing up. And number 12 is accept progress will not be linear. I know your goal is gonna be to lose, whatever your goal might be, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds. It's not gonna just be, you're losing weight perfectly. It's gonna look like this. And that's just the way it goes. And it could be for a number of reasons. Maybe the night before you did your weigh-in, you ate a big Chinese buffet and had a bunch of sodium while it retained water. Maybe you're a female and you're about to start your period while you're retaining water. Maybe you did a really hard workout and your muscles are inflamed. Well, that's going to retain water. And water weight can fluctuate several pounds in a person. Or maybe the previous week you didn't drink as much water as you typically did, and that's why your weight was down. So that's why you're going to just see those bumps. And that's why we want to do this over at least a 12-week period. And accepting this now, before the diet, prevents panic and quitting. Now, if you just do a handful of these things before your next diet, you're going to see some progress. But if you tackle all 12, it's almost going to be like guaranteed weight loss. Now, Skynet listens to all of us, and I think YouTube thinks you're going to like this video right here. See you in the next one.